Two things open.
Yeah, you do. You did have two portals open.
So I'm trying to,
Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, what's up, folks?
Good evening.
Nice beard.
Yeah, I've cleaned it up a little bit. It used to just be big and massively burly, and then I just took the sides off.
Nice.
It's my COVID facial hair. Until I have the
Awesome.
vaccine.
Awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
I actually had I cleaned it up. I had my first. I did get the shot last Saturday, not this past Saturday, the one before. I had my first shot.
Awesome.
That's why I did the
Congratulations.
cleanup. When I get the second one in about 2 weeks, I'll clean everything up.
Because you're a teacher?
Yeah. Yep. They opened that up like a week ago today. Opened up to 65 and above and teachers.
I know. I have to wait to turn 65 to sign up.
Maurizio.
Hello, hi.
Chris here.
I guess it's not too late to say Happy New Year, right?
Oh yeah, Happy New
Yeah.
Year.
It's the first time we see each other. So.
It might be to your advantage to reboot and give it another try. You're still showing up in two different places. Or you
you're
were.
showing up in two different places. Okay, well, I will do
Well,
that.
now you're not. Now you're only showing up where you're supposed to, but no picture.
Okay, well, we'll see what we can do here.
Okay. Somewhere on your screen, there may be a, join video or something like that.
Yeah,
Down the lower left-hand corner, perhaps.
anyway, go ahead and start. Don't wait for me. I'll figure this out.
Okay.
Should I start with roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll lead it off. Charles Mason, I'm the chairman of the Coastal Zone Management Commission.
Okay. Who else wants to introduce themselves, or should I just call out? Tara Anderson?
Here.
Okay, we hear you.
Sarah Hanna?
Here.
Okay. Maurizio Bertini?
Here,
Matt Teich?
Present.
Conan Chef?
Here.
And Bob Fletcher is,
Here,
he's rebooted. Oh, there he is. He's there. With us, Councilwoman Jane Eny from the town of Mamaroneck, and we might be joined later by Trustee Peter Finelli if he gets done with his work session.
Okay. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the November meeting. We did not have a December meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes, I did, and I
Good.
was happy. I was happy to see that elm trees and maple trees are being planted,
Very good.
because I did hear the trees being felled already. So I was happy to read the minutes and see that more trees are being planted.
Oh, I'm Chatsworth.
Yes.
Anybody have any changes or amendments to the minutes they want to bring to the meeting?
No.
No, nobody? Okay.
No.
May we have a motion to approve from somebody?
so moved.
Thank you, Bob. All those in favor, raise your hands.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope, okay,
No.
unanimous, and we do have a quorum. Okay, the first item on the agenda, we'll take it, if we take it in order, is 40 Ocean Avenue, Village of Larchmont, three lot subdivision.
Okay, so I'm gonna promote the people, the presenters from that group.
Sorry, Liz, did you say that there's a potential for us to do this at the very end? Does it make sense to do this last, or are we doing it in the order that it's written?
We talked about that. I thought we'd probably just go ahead in order and
Okay.
rather than juggle it around, because people have read the agenda and maybe timing there when they think like we're going to be available. If we change it around, we might missed somebody.
Okay.
So I think if we were going to change it, we should have done it much earlier.
Let's just dig right in then to this big
Yeah,
one.
let's go. Liz, if you'll go ahead and promote the appropriate
Yeah.
people.
I'm gonna try to find them all. There's quite a few people in here. There's one. Panelists.
Kanan, we're only just seeing the top of your head. Is that the way you want it?
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually reading, I have all the documents up on my screen, so it's just easier to read it that way.
Okay, all right.
Then,
I just wanted to be sure that we weren't missing you.
no, I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's with them. Okay, so folks from 40 Ocean, who else am I missing that I'm not promoted yet?
Hi, I'm Adam Wexstein, the attorney for the project. Tom Kerrigan from Site Design was originally listed as Joe Rena, and he had a conflict. Thomas Kerrigan.
We have a screen for a Jeffrey Perry. Is he also?
There he is. I found him. He raised his hand. That helped.
Okay.
Thank you, Tom. Okay. Anybody else we're missing?
Who wants to lead off on this?
I believe I will. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Thomas Kerrigan. I'm with a civil engineer with Site Design Consultants. Presenting you tonight the project at 40 Ocean Avenue. We were last in front of this board in 2017. At that time, we were presenting simply a demolition of the existing residence on the 40 Ocean property, and we had prepared a conceptual 4-lot subdivision that would be pursued at a later date. We are now presenting a 3-lot subdivision, and the demolition of the existing building is no longer part of the project. We will be preserving that existing residence. We have prepared along with this a stormwater management plan. I know that was a concern during the demolition plan that there was no stormwater plan prepared, but we have that now, and that will more than adequately address any stormwater requirements for this project. We, per the New York State DEC GP 20, the current edition of the general permit, we are exceeding that by providing treatment to the 90% storm and attenuation up to the 100-year storm. We have also prepared a extensive erosion sediment control plan that will ensure that no sediment-laden runoff leads the site while the project is under construction to prevent anything from entering the stormwater system adjacent to the property and flowing out to the sound. We've gone through the requirements of the coastal assessment form, and we believe that our project is not in conflict with any of the provisions within there or the policies. There has been some concern expressed, I know, about the view of the sound and concerns that this proposed development would hinder that. We do not believe that to be the case. Currently the view of the sound is only visible openly through Walnut Avenue, along it, and to the end of it. There is an obscured view from the property at 25 Ocean, but that is currently at its most visible due to the lack of foliage on the leaves at the moment, and it's an obscured view even now. I believe that takes care of sort of the general introduction of the project. Now, I think, open up to questions.
Oh, we're getting a little bit of audio feedback here.
I would just like to add to what Thomas said, which is that for the past, since September of 2019, we have been pursuing this subdivision. And there have been two driving forces behind it. One was to situate the 2 additional houses to save the mansion. Naturally, the client dropped one of the 4 that could have theoretically been done in a zoning compliant plan. And 2, there's been much discussion of a 42-inch beech tree that's on lot.
A 42-inch what, sir?
I'm sorry, a beech tree.
Okay.
There are 2 beech trees, and they were both mentioned in correspondence on that lot. One of them is a very large beech tree, which the town's expert, our expert, Preserve Larchmont's expert, all believe has a canker, which I guess is a tree equivalent of a cancer, which will spread to other trees, and is also means that that tree's near the end and should come down no matter what. The other one, the 42-inch beech tree, has required quite a few different iterations of this plan as to lot 3, moving the house around, reshaping it, redesigning it. And at this point, we're to the point where we're outside a 40-foot radius from it. We're also distant from the house on lot 1 as well. We also have a plan now, after much work, is compliant with all the setbacks in the zoning ordinance. I know zoning is not what you're concerned about, but I just wanted you to have context as to how we got to where we are, and we just didn't come to you at the very beginning of the process.
Liz, do we have copies of the plans and specifications that Mr. Carrigan had mentioned?
Well, I was expecting them to present, to show us the plans by sharing their screen.
Yeah, that's what
I can take it through that if you'd like.
That's where I was going with that.
Can you see my screen?
Now, yes, we can.
Okay. So as you can see, we're proposing a 3-lot subdivision. This is the beech tree that Adam was referring to. We have a 40-foot radius off of this tree to the house on this proposed lot 3. This is being done in an effort to save this tree. The existing house, as you can see, will remain, and we are constructing a new garage and driveway off of Linden Avenue to serve this property. As you can see, all of the setbacks for each of the lots is provided. This is the existing conditions of the property. The existing driveway and the existing garage are proposed to be removed so that we can construct the houses on lots 2 and 3, which are the 2 new residences. The lot 2, which is this lot here, will utilize the existing driveway access point for that comes off Walnut Avenue. As you can see, we've provided a erosion sediment control plan that extensively addresses any concerns of runoff leaving the site. There is silt fencing shown down slope of all disturbances. Construction entrances are provided for each lot. And all stockpiles are shown to be stabilized. As I mentioned earlier, there is currently no stormwater for the existing residents or any of the impervious areas on 40 Ocean Avenue. We are now providing for each of the new residences stormwater management practices, and for the new garage and the new driveway, a stormwater management basin down near the intersection of Linden and Ocean Avenue. We have done to the best of our ability and due to the limitations of the code, reduced the amount of grading required for this site. As you can see, we limited the grading within this 40-foot radius of this beech tree to make sure that the roots were not disturbed as a result of the project. And also tried to reduce the amount of cut and fill necessary for the project. We currently meet the requirements of the code for this. Adequate site distances are provided along Walnut Avenue for lots 1 and 2, as well as along Linden Avenue for lot 1 at the new proposed driveway access point.
I noticed quite a few gradient lines on your plans. What does each line represent on that? 1 foot or 2 feet or what?
1 foot. It was requested of us by the village consulting engineer that we show it at this level of detail.
Okay, and your mains, I assume your electrical is going to be buried, and where do you propose to bring your utilities into the houses, the two new houses?
So for the sewer for lots 2 and 3, we will be constructing an extension of the sewer that comes up along the right of way along Walnut Avenue, and it will tie into the existing sewer main located in Ocean Avenue. The water main, the water services will be pulled from the water main in Walnut Avenue and the water main in Ocean Avenue. And as you say, electric will be coming off of utility poles and run underground to the proposed residences. We'll also be relocating the water service for the existing house. Currently, it comes off of Ocean, almost directly underneath the beech tree, and into the side of the building over here. We will be utilizing an existing connection off of Linden and connecting it through around to the back, around the side of the property to the same meter point.
Presumably you will just abandon the service line that runs under the tree then, rather than trying to dig that up.
Exactly, yes.
Liz, do we have any people who requested time to speak?
A lot of folks have submitted documents, which I had posted, and I think there was a one document I emailed to everybody. But if the board wants to ask if people want to speak, we can request, that they raise their hand. Do one person, STA Architects, who has their hand raised.
Okay, let's just for the sake of brevity, please ask people to kind of state your position as succinctly as you can, and we'll try to give everybody 5 minutes or so and hear what they have to say, but please no filibusters. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have STA Architect. Hi, we can hear you now.
Okay. Good evening. This is Steve Tilley, Stephen Tilley Architect in Dobbs Ferry, and I've been retained by Preserve Larchmont to review and comment the plans, as well as prepare an alternative site plan that Preserve Larchmont feels would have less impact on the neighborhood and on views and the following the precepts of the Larchmont LWRP.
Have you submitted those plans to the town, or are they still to be submitted?
You should be in receipt of a submission of earlier today that I submitted through Liz, which has exhibits attached to it for your review, and mentions the policies in the LWRP that we feel are that require more scrutiny of the proposed subdivision plan, including the visual impacts of the the way that the site is being managed and the locations of the buildings. So in that exhibit,
What you submitted today, of course, we haven't seen yet. Could you be a little more specific on what you're talking about?
okay, well, you'll see there's a set of arguments about the LWRP, which in policies 23 and 25 specifically mention Walnut Street views and the aesthetic and architectural impacts on the neighborhood of proposed new structures, which are subject to your review.
Would you be more specific?
Okay, specifically, there are in policy 23, it refers to location, scale, design, color, texture, pattern, line, setback, landscaping, or similar characteristics that have to do with neighborhood impacts that are subject to your review. And in policy 25, it specifically cites views to Larchmont Harbor from Walnut and Bay Avenue street ends. It is important to preserve these views and to prevent visual impairments to the area's scenic and open space qualities and values. So it is our opinion that an alternative subdivision which removes the building from the corner and if you notice, you asked about the heavy lines which represent fill being introduced on the corner of the property, and a significant amount of fill which is required to cover the drainage chambers. And you'll notice the large number of steps from the driveway up to the first floor of this building. That impact on the corner is a significant visual impact in the neighborhood, and distinctly at odds, first of all, with the original property, the qualities of the original property, scenic qualities in that neighborhood, as well as having a significant impact, in my opinion, on the health and future of the beech tree. If you review, I attached to my submission the 3 arborist reports in which each of them suggests measures that need to be taken to really protect that beech tree. And I'm not seeing in any of the current submissions the protection plan as part of the site plan application. And that protection plan is key because you can draw circles, but it's really protecting the building during the course of construction that is the key to success. And it's
you're saying protecting the tree, not the building.
Protecting the tree. Yeah, no, I mean, that's.
You said protecting the building.
Protecting the tree, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted
From
to
the impact of construction, and it's a war with contractors, and I can testify from personal experience that you, even with the best of intentions, you can lose that war. And so I'm concerned that this is, there's no protection plan that we've seen that was requested by the arborist that was hired by Preserve Archmont, but also that was agreed to and by the arborists that were hired by the village and the developer. So there's really a set of issues that could be dealt with and managed with an alternative arrangement that would be equally viable from a development point of view, in our opinion. And
thank you for your input, and it's certainly something we would want to look at. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Liz, do we have anyone else?
Yep, yes, we do. I'm gonna ask Abigail Marie to speak.
If
Hi.
Tom would take down his share of the sharing of the screen.
Yep, I'll do that right now.
Appreciate it.
Right,
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight. I live at 19 Ocean Avenue. We've lived here for 45 years. And I have a question about the water basement at the corner of Ocean and Linden, as we are below sea level and we flood constantly at a rain. We have 2 sump pumps going. We have a French drain. What is this water basement at the corner of Ocean and Linden that you are proposing?
It's going to appear to just be a large planting bed, but the surface level will have a layer of mulch that various plantings will be put into that can handle periodic inundation, and then that mulch layer will extend down about 1.5 to 2 feet with 8 to 12 inches of gravel underneath that. The goal of this is to filter runoff and then infiltrate it into the ground. We did testing in the location of this basin and found that groundwater was an adequate depth below the basin, that this was a acceptable practice.
So you are saying that this water basement will stop the runoff?
It will treat runoff and direct it into the groundwater table, and then it will also overflow into the storm sewer. But the amount overflowing into the storm sewer is less than what is currently going into that storm sewer.
Okay, as I said, we are below sea level on the other side of Ocean. So you're, dealing us a very tricky situation here with the runoff. Please consider that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz, do we have anyone else?
Yes, I have Kelly Brock.
Hi, I just unmuted. Hopefully you can hear me now.
We can hear you.
Great. I'm talking tonight on behalf of Preserve Larchmont, who's advocated for several years, against first what was going to be the demolition of the historical house, which was the first time you saw this plan several years ago, and currently advocating in support of what Steve Tilley was speaking to, which is a realignment of the site plan in favor of less detrimental effect under the LWRP for historical views, as well as trying to avoid the amount of soil that needs to be reviewed under the current plan with the house on the corner of Walnut, which does require a variance because they're trying to level a very unlevel property, as well as get rid of the need to build up that entire corner and surround all the new lots with massive retaining walls. We feel that we've gotten to a place with your guys' help in the past when you recognize that the LWRP looked to protect the historical asset of the house and recommended that the planning board consider it a violation of the LWRP. But we're now trying to move away from these huge visual impacts that are only necessitated by placing that house on the corner when other plans have been submitted and are feasible. Steve Tilley, I know, has submitted them earlier today, and I mean, upon request could probably share his screen with you, but I know he has at least 2 iterations that place a house on Walnut and 1 on Linden, or 2 on the natural curve of the property up on Walnut without needing to build up so aggressively that corner, which is what infringes on the water views, what creates this regrading situation, which creates the need to take away so much soil and then replace it with buildup at the corner. So we're hoping that in the letter we submitted, I know both back in December and again today, you can review, in more detail the comments we made with respect to the LWRP and where we think this project runs astray of it. And I would advocate if Steve could share those alternative drawings either by screen now or by looking at the submissions he made earlier today, I think that would be a good point of reference for what we're looking towards.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
May I
Alan,
start, or should I wait?
Alan,
till-
I would like to see the screen share if that's available.
Absolutely, Bob. Steve, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm happy to do that.
Would you please?
Let's see.
Okay, she just has to let me.
I think I have to promote you to panelists. Hold
You
on.
have to,
So, okay, I promoted you to panelists, so I think you could share your screen now.
okay, thank you. So first of all, I'm just going to show you this image of the corner of the property, which indicates the current contours and shows you the beech tree in question that where a significant amount of soil is going to be introduced. The contours are going to be, the higher contours are going to be wrapped around so that this grading is going to look radically different from what it does now looking up Walnut Street. But so I'm going to go to this first application. I'll just have to get a. Bear with me a second.
Folks, while he's doing that, I just want to mention that our submission was made mid-November. Our application has been pending before the planning board since September of 2019. And this group is submitting plans today to your board with a critique. And I can tell you why they're wrong. I would love to have seen the plans before the meeting. But quite frankly, I don't even think they should be considered at this point. It's outrageous. We've been doing this for 18 months and now they're showing plans and having a historian come in. It's absurd.
If you'll see this plan, which indicates this is Walnut, this is Ocean Avenue, and this is Linden. And you can see that there's the opportunity to meet the zoning requirements.
Mr. Tilley?
Yes.
I'm seeing a photograph of the existing house from the corner of Ocean and Walnut. I'm not seeing the plan you're referring to.
You're really not sharing your screen with us, sir. It's a nice
Okay.
picture, but it's not what we're looking for.
How's that?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, so this is Linden, this is Walnut, and this is Ocean Avenue. And you can see these are three zoning compliant lots which preserve the intact the frontage on Ocean Avenue of the original property, and then subdivide with one entrance off of Linden and one entrance off of, as the site designer was suggesting, using the existing entry up here to a compliant and marketable property on Walnut Street, which has much less impact on the site, on the trees, on the corner, and on the integrity of the historic property. And but permits the permits development and property, the value, kind of exploiting the value of the property for two new houses. which is the intent of the current proposal. So we feel this is a much less impactful arrangement, and there are obviously alternative ways of developing these schematic proposals, and these were on the table, a couple of years ago, actually, and I think they were. I think we discussed them with the developer. It's not a last minute proposal as of today. It's something that seemed logical. It has seemed logical for some time.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And unless, Liz, do we have anyone else? And then I think what we probably should do is close this portion of the hearing tonight, and we'll work on our letter to the planning board.
Mr. Chairman, I would love the opportunity to respond. I think a number of the things that were said are not correct or misleading.
We'll be perhaps happy to hear the applicant, but once again, I've asked him to be brief.
Sure. We did see a version of these plans when there were negotiations going on. They were analyzed for zoning compliance with our engineer, and there were all kinds of problems. Number two, preserving a house like this and hoping it to have value and to sell it so that this remains a viable development in the future. No one's going to buy this house with another home in the backyard. This plan it makes no sense at all. The other plan gives it room, leaves it to breathe. Number three, we are going to the Architectural Review Board. We're going, as you know, for site plan approval. I don't believe that the neighbors on Walnut, who are the ones who are, to use the technical legal term, making the most noise, have the ability to say, we don't want two houses on our street. We want them elsewhere because that's what we want. We're showing it doesn't interfere with the views. Mr. Tilley quoted a policy in your local waterfront revitalization plan in a way that was completely misleading. What your plan says under policy 25 is that from the views should be preserved from the end of Walnut and Bay Street. That's all the way over by the water on the other side of Ocean Avenue. We're not talking about houses that are across the street from us on Walnut. And you can read that yourself. The tree. And I don't know to what extent you want to go into that, but both the Preserve Larchmont's expert, the expert for the town, told us they wanted to see a bunch of preservation measures. We have agreed to do all of them, and there are conceptual plans that have been submitted to that effect. But we haven't even gotten a negative declaration or gone to the zoning board for variances we need. So we're nowhere near getting an approval for the subdivision yet. I do think that the board already has what it needs, but to the extent it has an issue, we will submit them and we'll comply with all the recommendations that in fact have been made.
When is your meeting with the planning board?
Our next meeting with the planning board is scheduled for February 1st, which I believe is next Monday.
It's only a week, yeah.
Correct.
We will make an effort to get our letter out to you in time to have it for the planning board. It's a little short notice for us, but we will make the effort. And we appreciate your speaking up. There's no reason not to want to hear it, and no reason for not to want to hear the other side submission. So yes, we will look at it. We'll get our letter out, and we'll go from there. And thank you, all of you, for being here and just making your case.
I apologize, but just looking at that plan, and it's very hard for me to see it small. One of the lots is 12,000 square feet. This is a zone that requires 15,000 square feet. So even on space, it's vastly different than what is required. And I promise I won't say any more. I appreciate your patience.
No, we don't want to muzzle you. We don't see ourselves as somebody setting up obstructions. We just try to make the best of what we can. And thank you.
Thank you.
There are a few more residents that have their hands raised. Do you want to hear them?
Okay, but let's not make, let's not go all night with this.
Okay. We'll take 2 more.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. I have Benjamin Natalis.
Thank you, Liz. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you all. First, I would just ask that the commission look at the CAF filed by 40 Ocean and look at what it ticks as not requiring or affecting the environment and the community, and you'll see multiple misstatements. One, for example, was conceded today by the Mr. Kerrigan that the view is affected by this plan. And if you go to page 2 of the letter we submitted in December, you can see that when you put a house on the corner of Walnut and Ocean, it blocks the view of the harbor. In the CAF, and it's, I think it is, I'm just looking for the actual number. It is page 2, it's page 3 of the CAF. They tick no to every single possible effect on the coastal assessment. And that's just not true. They've conceded that it does affect the view. They say that it does not affect a historical structure. It does. And I think the commission should properly account for and study the effects and the relevance of the LWRP of this development.
I'd like to respond if possible.
Well, wait a minute. Let me just make a point here. We see these environmental assessment forms all the time, and I swear there are times when you could be putting in a nuclear power plant and every box would be checked no. We're used to that. We know how to interpret that.
Okay.
If I may, though,
you don't have to beat us over the head with that.
There's a certain irony when you're making representations to a government and they're just not true, right? The second thing is to policy 25. It specifically states that the view that should be protected or improved is down Walnut and down Bay, which are 2 roads that run directly into the harbor. So I would encourage the commission to please read it. When you put a house on the corner of Walnut, it blocks the view, which is specifically what the LWRP was trying to preserve. And I'm sure anyone who's walked around Larchmont and this developer who has no interest in the community or to live here other than to flip houses knows that when you walk down Walnut Avenue to the harbor, it's one of the most beautiful views on earth. And to stick a spec house on there will destroy it. And I thank the commission for its time. I know this is difficult and I appreciate your volunteerism.
Thank you.
if I may respond very quickly, I believe Mr. Naftalis misunderstood what I was saying. I didn't say that the house on lot 3 would obscure views. I said the current views are obscured across the property of 25 Ocean by existing vegetation. That was the point I was trying to make. That's all.
Thank you. Liz?
Yeah, I have the LWRP open here, and it does state that views to Larchmont Harbor from Walnut and Bay Avenue street ends.
Liz, as you know, I was on the committee that wrote that thing 50 years ago or 40 years ago, so you really don't have to instruct me on that.
Nope, just clarifying it for everybody else, I think.
Okay. All right, I think we'll close this.
One more hand that
we got one more. Okay, let's do one more, and then I think we have to move on to the rest of the agenda.
This is Adam Trigg.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
All right. I'll be brief. Thank you for your time. Adam Trigg, 50 Ocean. I am the one of the 2 obnoxious neighbors referenced by Mr. Weckstein earlier. I would just point out, I hear you on the point that the codes to preserve the street end view. That's not really where I'm coming from when you think about what the impact of this house will have. The Orchards home, which is what's currently on the lot that Mr. Weckstein's client owns, is a historic home. And it's historic because not so much the structure, but the lot it sits on, sitting high above the surrounding neighborhood. Most people in this area who are walking and viewing that home are viewing it from walking down Walnut. Most people walk down, they go to the end of Walnut, they turn around, they go back up. And you will be obstructing the view of that historic home and also destroying really what makes the home so historic, which is this plot it sits on, by siting a home on currently designated lot 3. And so I think this doesn't get so much to preserving the view of the sound, but it's preserving the view of this home, and also just the the scenic view as one walks down Walnut and can observe the wide open space and see directly onto the sound most parts of the year. Even when in the summer, when the view is obstructed, you are still seeing the sound. So you're getting a wide vista. If you plot a house on lot 3, you're going to be walking down in a tunnel and getting a small section of Long Island Sound that you see until you get to the street end. So I think it goes to more the scenic nature of this area and the views you get, not so much the Section 25 specific preservation of the view at the very end of Walnut, which I agree the house does not obstruct in any way the very end of Walnut.
Thank you. I would just ask that if anybody wants to have anything looked at, anything additional submission or anything like that, get it to Liz by Wednesday. If we're going to meet our obligation to the planning board by the beginning of next week, anything that anybody feels we should see, get it to Liz as quickly as you can, and we will look at it. And Liz, I want to move on to the next item on the agenda.
Thank you again for your patience.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
The next item on the agenda is 7 Highland Road, Town of Mamaroneck. There's a pool and a patio involved here.
Okay, I'm gonna promote them, okay?
Yep, please do.
Back to. Lists. Green. Okay, I think I got everybody now.
All right. Who's going to speak for the applicant in this case?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Paul Fusco. I'm the landscape architect on the project from Louis Fusco Landscape Architects. And we're representing Charles and Valerie Green at 7 Highland Road in Larchmont. I can share my screen here for you. So we have the plans in front of us. Here we go. As you've probably seen, the proposed project includes the addition of a pool, small patio, and mitigation plantings. There's an existing wetlands at the rear of the property. This is the property line here. This is the existing wetland border edge. As you can see, most of the property, this is a 100-foot wetland buffer, falls within the regulated wetland buffer area. The existing woodlands is at the edge here, which is approximately 15 feet off of the property line for the homeowners, and is currently a manicured lawn as well as the rest of the back of their property. This is the existing residence. They enter off here, Highland. This is their existing driveway.
Wait a minute. Let me understand something. Are you saying that there's manicured lawn within the beyond your property line? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah, that's
how did that happen?
Encouragement.
The homeowner had, when the homeowner purchased the property, it was an existing condition and was never kind of brought up of the exact edge of property line until he made until there was an addition with the deck and this section of the house in 2004. And that's when they had this realization that this their property line ended about 15 feet shy of the woodland edge. And since then, they're now looking to use that and help mitigate and restore this section back into native wetland plantings.
How about the trees that were removed when that was made into a lawn?
Once again, that was prior to the existing owners having this property. This was an existing condition that they inherited when purchasing the property.
Of course, they didn't know.
Exactly. So as part of this proposed project, this is the proposed pool and the proposed patio area. The total increase in impervious surface to the project is 400 or 675 square feet. We are working and removing their existing asphalt driveway to propose pervious paving to help with water absorption and infiltration to help offset the proposed work. This hatched area here is a proposed gravel system, drainage system under to handle the patio area as well, direct end. Let me go to the planting plan here. So you can see the planting plan is what we're looking to do is restore this manicured lawn area. There's a number of trees. There's red maples being installed as well as some river birch being installed on the property. A significant amount of native perennials and shrubs, woody shrubs along this rear edge to not only restore the wetlands area, but also provide native. We're coming into the property as well to provide natural wetland planting buffers before any water heads into the stream and trail behind.
Quick question, if I may. Who owns that property? It's not part of your client's property. Whose property is it?
Go ahead, Liz. Liz can answer that.
It's town of Mamaroneck property. It's the leather stocking trail.
I see. And is the town of Mamaroneck okay with this plan?
Well, one of my questions for the applicant was actually maintenance of all the plantings, and how we were going to work that out. Because if they're restoring it and giving it back to the town, there should be no maintenance whatsoever. But then again, I'm not sure if I want to take over the maintenance. Like, I don't want to water anything. I don't want to prune anything. We want to just let it go back to wild again.
Correct. So right now we're proposing.
Mr. Fusco, are you familiar with how the town got that piece of property?
I am not.
Okay. The understanding was that the town bought that entire trail area for $1 with the understanding that it would be kept forever wild.
Understood. So what we're looking to do is bring it back to as close as possible to forever wild. Right now we had Beth Evans, a wetland consultant, do an initial survey of the property, and she found that it is does not have indicative wetland species in there. There's a significant amount of invasive species within the area. So the proposed plan is greatly improving the existing condition, let alone the woodland edge or the manicured lawn up to the woodland edge, but will be providing significant plant diversity, and which would allow for wildlife diversity throughout this area, and as well as once these plantings are in, will help to increase the spread of these within the wetlands area. And we are happy to also propose removal of some of the invasives up to the stream bank, if that's something. We tend not to try and go into the woodlands, but to help with an initial plantings here to help with the towns of their maintenance if they're not on a regular schedule for that. The homeowner we could come in and do an initial removal of some of the existing invasives to try and promote some of the native and positive plant material.
We sort of think of grass as an invasive in that area.
Wonderful. So that's what we will be removing. It's approximately 2,500 square feet of mitigation area that will be converted from manicured lawn into native wetland species.
Where's your pool fence gonna go?
The pool fence is going to go on the property line, so it will create that natural buffer between and not allow this to ever happen again. And we would be happy to leave it as a, I'm sure the homeowner would be happy to leave it as a no maintenance and let it be forever wild once revegetated.
Okay. Liz, I think we're going to need your input on what gets planted there or not planted. What we really need is species that will survive well with scientific neglect.
Yes, not being watered and not being maintained.
Maybe benign neglect would probably be a better choice.
Generally speaking, the plants that we have selected are all native and typically handle that kind of condition. Periodic watering can handle a lot of drought and stress. You can also, as Liz will see when reviewing the plant list, we are proposing a significant amount of material. This isn't a small mitigation planting plan. We're talking probably almost, if not more, the 300 perennials, at least 50 shrubs. Like I said, I think there's 7 large trees in this area. And while we hope and work everything we can to not have any loss, if there's a significant amount of material that will be able to take over and will spread and grow over time.
How do you feel about like a watering it for the first year, and then that's it?
I'm sure we could work out with the homeowner to take care of that and handle it for the first year. We actually typically, and the homeowners in par with that, the landscape plantings are warranted for 1 year, so we could manage handling that. And if there is loss within that first year, the homeowner can take care of that and water.
Okay, I think that sounds pretty reasonable. And then after that, it would just be on its left to its own accord, but that would allow it to get established.
What's your closest cross street with Highland with this property?
If we go back here,
Rockland.
Yeah, I always forget that one. Rockland Avenue.
It's right up in Rockland.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm your neighbor.
Right around the corner, yeah.
There you go. Yes, and mentioned we're mitigating the water in general, the stormwater in this area by removing and replacing the asphalt driveway with permeable paving. And so we are coming up with a net decrease in impervious stormwater.
Okay, we will attack this. Do you have anything with the planning board? Are you on their schedule this next meeting?
Yes, we are on their February meeting, and we'll be presenting to them this application. So any comments or feedback you do have would be greatly appreciated prior to that meeting. It sounds, generally speaking, that the scope looks okay, and with discussion on plant material with Liz.
Just looking at the plant, looks like there's a rock. You have a rock ledge cutting across the corner of the pool closest to the house.
Yep.
What's the plan to deal with that?
We have a shallow pool. The full depth is 5 feet. So we're about 3 feet less than a typical pool at 8. And so that is hopefully helping. We're actually, due to the grades in this area, this will be lifted as well. So we've done some initial probes, and with the low end being on the ledge side and the deep end of 5 feet being a little farther away. So we're hoping for the best, and we'll adjust and accommodate as necessary.
Okay, but it's small potatoes, relatively speaking, because you're lifting it and it's a shallow pool. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Everyone have a good night.
The next item on our agenda is 2 Circle Avenue, Village of Larchmont, addition of portico and pergola. Who's speaking for that?
Hold on, I'm going to promote them now.
slight increases, but there's a larger increase for non-resident railroad, bringing us more line with our neighboring communities.
All right, do we have everybody from your group?
I believe so, yes. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Fox. I'm the architect for Tom and Stacy Fahey at 2 Circle Avenue in Larchmont. Can I share my screen now? Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the project before you is a series of small additions. The first being a 8 square foot mudroom addition and portico located. Oh, so this is the outline, sorry. This is the outline of the existing building here. So we're adding a very small portico area here, which is sort of in a back alley. This area here on the site plan is currently paved. We're reclaiming some of that area for lawn and plantings, and obviously adding a walk that's going to connect the driveway on this side of the property to the new mudroom and portico. The second addition is a screened-in porch located here at the corner of the property. That is 166 square feet. That is going to be a roof structure, but it's going to be screened. It's going to be built on piers and not a full foundation, so there's minimal impact to the environment. The same goes for the new pergola here located on this side of the entry overhang here. That too, obviously it's going to be an open air structure. It will be built on piers as well. Some things to note is that we have a full stormwater treatment plan in effect that has been reviewed by the village engineering consultant, and we have made modifications to the stormwater plan based on some comments from the engineering consultant. And as of last week, all of the comments have been addressed, and there's no further comment from the engineering consultant. It should be noted that of the new areas being added, that only 358 square feet of new impervious area are going to be added, and it will be 100% mitigated with the stormwater system that we are proposing.
What is the stormwater system that you're proposing?
It's going to be 4 100 HD. Hang on, I can zoom in. Coltech units. Now the 100 HD Coltech units are the lowest profile units, and they are going to be. So here's the engineering site plan. So here we have the front of the home, and there's going to be the 4 units here. One of the comments from the engineering consultant was a concern about the units to the proximity to the existing trees that we have here. As a result of that, we had an arborist come out and take a look at the property. He did make some suggestions as to doing some pneumatic excavating for the roots and things like that, but he did not, this is the report from the arborist, but he did not think that any of the installation of the stormwater system or the proposed structures were going to have any impact on those 3 existing trees. And just so you can see that this is there were no comments other than engineering comments from the planning board. And so this is just the memo that just shows that all items have been addressed. And I'll go back up.
Mr. Salanito is not here tonight. That was a question.
I have no idea.
No, he's a consultant to the planning board.
Oh, he's okay. All right.
Yeah, he's the engineer. We had our own separate engineer, obviously prepare stormwater mitigation plans. And then Mr. Salanitro is the consultant to the planning board who reviews the engineering plans that we submitted in order for the stormwater mitigation.
Okay.
Just
Go
a
ahead.
couple of other quick things, just to note. Hang on, let me go back to the, just going to scroll quickly, so I apologize if I'm making you dizzy. In terms of, so here we have the flood zone map. You can see that this yellow sort of triangle type property is Two Circle Avenue, and you can see that we're beyond, you know, the flood stage or the hurricane stage map here. Same goes for this is the FEMA map as well. You can see that you know, we are in Zone X. We're not in any flood zone whatsoever, although there is proximity, obviously, to the coast.
Liz, do we have all of these plans submitted? Do we have copies of all of this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to say? Anyone want to speak up on this? No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate your, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that we too will be in front of the planning board for the February meeting. So if you all would could find time in your agenda to perhaps, you know, make your recommendations prior to that meeting so that we can move forward with the review process. All other items, like I said, have been addressed. And so the CZMC review was the only outstanding item for our planning board review. So
Yeah, that's going to be tight. Thank you. But we'll, you know, we understand your situation.
okay, thank you.
Next item on the, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, but we're not the February 1st meeting. You realize that the 40 Ocean has a special meeting on February 1st. There's,
You're the regular meeting,
yes, we're the regular meeting. Sorry.
which is what, February, what, 8th or something? Was it?
It is February 16th.
That should be doable. Thank you. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
you clarified that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 68 Sherwood Drive.
Okay, let me find them. Okay, I think I have everybody here.
Okay. Steve, we don't have a picture of you. We just have your name.
Here we go.
There he is.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to do a share screen here.
Your computer looks as cluttered as mine.
Yeah, I'm a little, oh, there we go. You see that?
Yep.
Oh, good. I always manage to screw it up. Okay, let me find the right page. Okay, this is it. We have an existing lot that has an existing garage and an existing driveway. We're proposing to remove the existing garage and have a one-family residence and a detached two-car garage here.
When you say you have a garage and a driveway, am I to understand that that means there's no house there?
Correct.
Okay. Could you explain why you have a garage and a driveway but no house?
I can't, other than it was there for quite a while.
Yeah, I was hoping to get a clarification on that because I'm aware of the lot. Okay, what's your plan?
Okay, let me find the next. Okay, so we had a perk test done. We had an engineer do our stormwater management to contain the water on the site. We're also going to add some pervious surface at the end of the existing driveway to help mitigate that runoff from the existing driveway. Also,
Is this lot kind of unusual in shape? Is it a very long, narrow lot, or what's the story?
yeah, it's an existing non-conforming lot in terms of the size of it, the width.
And what's your coverage going to be?
We're going to meet the zoning, the coverage, which will be, I'll tell you in a second. Uh, 35% is the coverage. We're at 34.4. That was part of the reason we got rid of the existing garage, because we were over trying to keep the garage and extend the driveway, put us way over the coverage. So we eliminated that and put do a new detached garage, which is also smaller than the existing garage, to make that work.
And the architecture on this is what? I mean, it looks like a railroad flat, actually.
It's, hold on, that's the wrong one. That's the site. Yeah, this is the front of the house here.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little porch in the front here, steps down to the driveway. That's the back of the house.
So presumably the one on the left is the front and the other
Correct.
one is the back?
Yep.
And the sides, okay.
And the sides.
And what is the bedrooms, bathrooms, et cetera?
Yeah, over here. It's a 4-bedroom house and 2.5 bath.
No problems getting hookups and all that from Con Edison?
No, the water is existing, and there's an existing valve in the curb. And we have,
how about gas?
Gas, I'm not sure about, to be honest with you. I know it had a moratorium. I don't think there's gas on the site right now anyway.
All right, so you're digging in and hoping for the best on all of that. I get you.
Right. Well, there is gas in the street. The question is whether we can
hook up. Yeah.
Hook up or not.
Yeah, I understand. Liz, is there anything as far as plantings or anything we're concerned about here?
Well, I'd asked the applicant to add tree protection to the plan for, there was a large tree in the back quarter or third of the lot.
Oh, yeah, here.
Yes.
Right, which for tree protection.
What's the condition of the trees?
Looked in pretty decent shape. I didn't really didn't evaluate it, but
it's not shedding at this point, huh? Okay.
No.
All right.
Stephen, quick question. Any issues with flooding?
No, it's high and it slopes to the front of the property.
So I have a question. You have all the cul-de-sacs in the back of the property. How are they? What kind of stormwater are they collecting, considering the slope?
Well, they're collecting the house, the garage, and the new driveway.
Okay, because I don't know if you noticed, but the driveway that's right in front of your driveway is being raised. And
Which
you know,
one?
the house right in front of yours.
Oh, across
Quite
the
a-
street, you mean?
Yes, I think it's, you know, so I would suggest that maybe there is, better way to catch the water coming down from the driveway. The house next door, I believe is 72 or 70, has a very long driveway. And when it rains, you can see the water coming down.
Right. Well,
And
that
I mean,
was-
the concern is that you don't want to impact the house across the street.
right. Well, I think that's why the town engineer consultant recommended that we put a pervious pavement at the end of the driveway to help mitigate that, which we incorporated here.
Concern is the maintenance of those previous pavers, right? They're efficient for a few years, but they tend to clog. And after that's clogged, there's no maintenance. So
Right.
just something to think about it. I mean, if you have to cut, and I don't know what the regulations are, but you definitely you'll have to cut something for the hookups, right? For sanitary.
Right.
Maybe if some of that water there's a catch basin right across from the street, maybe. Something to think about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a question if the town allows us to do that, and I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Occasionally you see it, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, right. I'd have to find that for you.
Yeah, you'd have to find out on that. And also if it's on the other side of the street, then you've got to open the street up because you can't just dump it in the street and let it flow across. Otherwise it'll freeze in the winter time.
Right.
This street dead ends to a low point too, right?
It's
like the
not
back
that
I don't know if it dead ends at a low point.
It's like
It's
the
running
back of
downhill.
where Staples is.
I'm sorry, say it again.
The back of the street is like at the very end of that street is like we're over by the Staples over there and behind the car wash. And if I recall, there's like the end of that street is a low point, right? That the everything else around it is much higher.
Higher, yes.
I'm not sure about the runoff or how the sewers collect over there or where they ultimately feed to, but just to.
Obviously, the storm drains just go right to the sound.
Right.
Well, that strangely there is some form of a drainage, cut drain, whatever you want to call it, in the back of the property. I haven't figured out what that does, but it's in the back of the lot, right behind your garage, right?
Yes, right. That's where the Coltex would be located.
Yeah.
There's
So
16 of those 100.
Right.
The shallower ones.
Now, I was just wondering if there is a better, maybe distribute the Caltex so that you can redirect some of the flow from the driveway, from the front into those Caltex.
Right. Well, we're basically catching anything new, and the existing driveway, which is there, is the part that's running towards the street.
Yeah.
So you're reducing runoff from the site, you're saying? Or is it?
Well, we're trying to help mitigate a little bit by doing some pervious service at the end, to collect some of the existing driveway, which right now just runs down the street.
Right. Just look at the property. It looks like it's the front from the street to the front of the property looks like there's a decent little grade to it. But after that, does the property level out?
Yeah, it's pretty flat on top.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was just looking at. So when you look at it, we're thinking of this steeper hill because when you look at the images from the street, it's all wood and you can't really see much. But yeah, after the front of the property, it looks like the front of the house is at about 33 feet. looking at this, and then the back of the property is at 34 feet.
Correct.
So, Mauricio, to your question about how the Coltex, right? You know, I could see how they could work back there.
Right. It's basically from the front of the house to the street is the steep part of the lot
Right, and that's pretty level. Okay.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a retaining wall that keeps
Yeah,
the
there's just a
property flat.
retaining wall across the front and up the driveway.
Wouldn't it be practical to cut a drain across the driveway near the street and direct that water to a Coltech unit that could be placed?
Well, the
under
problem
line?
is when they did the test pit, there was ledge right there, only approximately 2 feet down. So you really can't get it
You're
in.
gonna have a lot of rock there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I you know.
Okay, thank you.
And just by experience, I know that the house next door gets water in the basement. So maybe you want to put a little bit more than those 6 meals in your basement.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and
Appreciate it.
I
And
will
you're
be at that later February meeting at the planning board. The
16th.
Yeah.
Do you need any variance for the lot? For the
No.
No? So you good?
Yeah, we meet all the zoning.
Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, thank you. Thank
All
you
right,
very
thank you.
much. Appreciate your submissions.
Thank you.
And we should be able to deal with that for the 16th.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. The last item on the agenda is 151 Rocking Stone Avenue, Town of Mamaroneck, a new single-family house. Liz would promote the people involved, if you would.
Yep. Elliot. Elliot Senior.
Mr. Senior, we don't see you. We only see your name.
No, sorry. My video's not working. I don't know why.
Have you got it turned on?
Start video. Let's try that. There we go.
There you go. Now we see.
Good evening. Sorry for the late night. I guess you've been here for a while. So what we have here is a proposed building on an existing lot at 151 Rocking Stone. We're on the corner of, let me share my screen, I guess. Can I share?
That's a demolition, am I correct?
It's a demo of an existing house, yes.
Okay.
Let's increase this so I can see what I'm doing. Share. All right, if you could see this, this is the house. It's sort of surrounded on 3 sides by streets. We have Mountain Road, Rocking Stone Avenue, and Woodland Road here. We have an area map down in the corner. So what we're proposing is to tear down the existing residence that has a driveway off of Mountain Road through this area here, and change the driveway entrance off of Wildwood Road. We've been to the planning board, I guess the last month. Here is the site plan that we're proposing. We are saving a good portion of the trees, certainly on the dividing line between the neighboring properties. There are some trees that around the surrounding property that we're removing. When we were at the planning board, Liz had asked us to try and save this tree here in the back, the westerly property line, which we are now. We're taking a contour around it about 10 feet off of the trunk. There's also some trees down here that Liz had asked us to remove, actually. So for the planning board, we had, or after the planning board for this meeting, we had the arborist look at all of the trees on site as opposed to just the ones that we were removing at the time. And his report is here on what we were doing. Most of the ones that we're taking down are in poor health or directly adjacent to the construction. This is a copy of landscape plan that's provided by Anthony Acasella, and has quite a few additional plantings that we're doing in the property line between the neighbor's house and ours. We are providing a drainage system as required, underground Coltex in this area here, as well as there are some in this area here, Coltex, in this area for the driveway, mostly for the driveway. This is for the house. Right now, it's on top of a hill. This is our property here. This is the driveway off of Mountain Road. There is currently a tall wall. This is the neighboring property to the left on Mountain Road. It's a tall wall. It's in the right of way. And this is our corner. This is our driveway that we're going to be blocking back in and not using that driveway, so we're not backing out onto Rocking Stone. Let's see, we have some other pictures here. This is the property across the street. It's a relatively new house on the corner of Wildwood and Rocking Stone. And then this is on Chatsworth. So
if you were referring to photographs, they weren't showing up on my screen.
oh, all right. Yes, I was referring to photographs. It's the same PDF. So
I was seeing them.
no.
Maybe you could scroll down or something.
All right. Well, here is the existing house. Can you see that now? The driveway
No.
off of Mountain Road.
No, I just see a plan.
All right.
EC1 is what I see.
Yeah, Elliot, it's updating for me. So I'm seeing everything you're referring to, all the pictures when you were around the house.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too.
Okay.
I guess it's just
So
that
then ignore my problem.
it's a little, some computers are a little slower than others. I will leave this up here for a minute. So
Elliot,
as I said, we had an arborist look at all the trees that we were on site, and we're saving the ones that Alyssa suggested to save as much as we can, and are taking down the ones that, in addition to others, one that she had suggested we look at and take down because it's in decay.
You got a lot of stonework there. Is any of that being preserved? Or you're knocking that all down?
No, all of the stonework around the entire property is being preserved. Let me go to my sketch here. So right now there's a tiered retaining wall on Mountain, which is remaining. There is a double tiered wall on Rocking Stone that's remaining. The area where the existing driveway is, we're going to block that in and match the existing. And then there's a small portion of on Wildwood where our new driveway is going to go, is the only wall that's going to come out, and that's maybe a foot or two high at that side.
Why do you want to move the driveway from Mountain to Wildwood?
Well, the current driveway is very narrow, and it backs out right at the corner of Rocking Stone and Mountain. And so we think that it's dangerous by moving it off onto the less traveled roadway and farther from Rocking Stone. We feel it's a better position.
It's very close to the neighboring house on Wildwood.
The house on Wildwood is actually very far up the hill. Let's see.
Oh, so that's just the line? No, that's.
Yeah, that's just the property line. The house is actually way up the hill, way back here.
No, I mean the house on Wildwood. That's
Yeah.
That's Mountain up that side. I mean the house on Wildwood.
Let me go to this. So the house on Wildwood is here, which is, can you see that area map?
Yep.
So our driveway is coming in here, which is not necessarily close to the house on Wildwood.
I see.
Yeah, if you look at the Google Street Map view, you see it's pretty wide open. It's pretty far away from the next house up the street on Wildwood.
Find the picture of Wildwood.
The existing driveway is really narrow.
This is the picture of the house on Wildwood. That is our existing house, and our driveway is way to the left of the sidewalk because the line comes down at an angle.
So is that tree right there one of the trees to be removed? That
No,
large tree?
that one's not on our property.
Oh, okay, okay.
We actually have no trees coming down on that piece of dividing line. There's no trees there. There is one down close to the street line, but it's not that one in the picture. And the only tree that's there is not on our property, so we're not taking it down.
It looks like a very sloped property.
It is. That's the reason for all of these retaining walls, I suppose, and that's why we're coming in on Wildwood as well, because it's the area that's the least sloped. Certainly on the Wildwood side, we have this is the current driveway, and if we were to put in a two-car garage here underneath the house, we'd have to take out a lot of this vegetation and excavate all the way down to that elevation. By coming in on the other side, let's see. I guess this is the best picture. So this is our existing house. We're going to be coming in on a little bit to the right of this picture. And so this is the most gentle slope. This is the piece of wall part of the wall that we're going to be taking out is only 2 feet high. The wall on the mountain is a double tiered of probably 8 feet or 9 feet high altogether. So we felt this was least detrimental to the property as well.
So how many mature trees are being taken out?
Let's go to the plan here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trees coming out.
Wow, that's a lot.
They're not a lot. We're saving all the ones along the boundary line on Mountain, and a couple of existing on the corner of Rocking Stone. So that one in a picture from a minute ago remains. So now, as far as the trees that are coming out, you can see what they're like. For instance, this number 2, a 30-inch oak, is severe root rot damage, damage from the foundation placement. So tree number 2 is over here on Rocking Stone. Tree number 3 is also severe root damage, I guess, from the proposed house. I'm just reading this. Removed due to extreme hazard and poor health, number 5, which is here in the middle of the lot towards Mountain Road. Number 6 is hazard proposed for poor health. So out of the trees that we're removing, maybe half of them are due to the house placement, and half are not in very good shape. This 26-inch oak needs to be pruned. We're saving. The 12-inch cherry has basal decay and cracked stem. The cherries average crown with habitat, no remediation. We're saving those. And we're saving these last couple of trees. So out of the trees that we're removing, half of them, I would say, are in poor health.
Yeah, but the plant list on the top, is that the plant to be planted?
Yes. So this plant list here is the trees to be planted, yes.
Yeah, because most of those are not trees. Most of those are shrubs.
Mhm.
Right, except
I'm not, I'm
the-
not the landscape architect. I leave that to experts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Those are mostly shrubs, right, Liz?
well, you have, okay, the first two are trees.
Azalea?
No, Acer rubrum.
Yeah, oh, okay, the first, yeah, two, so two maples, yeah.
First, there are two trees there. There's a dogwood, there's a holly, there's a weeping spruce.
Yeah, but the trees they're removing are, I mean, if we go back down to what they're removing, they're, you know, they're really big oak trees and, I mean, Calmia latifolia, that's just mountain laurel, it's a shrub, rhododendron, that's a shrub, you know, I see a lot of spirea is just a little shrub, you know.
We also have blue spruce there as well, which and holly.
Yeah, I mean, some of the hollies can get really big. Some of the hollies are never get too big. It depends on the holly, you know. But that looks like it's starting out big, 6 feet. I mean, but a lot of times, you know how holly is. It's might never get beyond 6 feet.
Yeah, and Elliot, I thought you were going to try to save number 2 and 3 in the front.
2 and 3 over here.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But I mean, we can mark them not to come out, but the arborist said that 2 and 3 were location in the severe root damage from the foundation. He feels that they're too close to the foundation. I don't see it. I mean, I see it as being far away, but I'm not the arborist, so I relied on what he said.
Yeah, I don't see that being an issue with those two, but did you go back and revisit these trees with an arborist after the planning board meeting, or is this the assessment?
No, we went back and because originally he just looked at the trees that we were taking down, and so we asked him to go back after the planning board meeting to look at all the trees because you had thought some of them were in, you know, number 13, especially you thought that they'd come down, and he thought that that's his answers for 2 and 3. Look, if we can save them or show them not to come down, but if they do show if they are and have severe damage, then we can remove them later on. But I'm just relying on the arborist call on that.
I mean, maybe this is an ignorant question, but I mean, do people sometimes, you know, replace an oak with an oak, or, you know, because the oaks obviously, you know, reach far greater proportions. And so in terms of shading of the neighborhoods, visual impact, you know, you lose a couple large oaks, it's pretty significant.
We can request that if we want. You know, that we add more some larger trees to the list.
I'm partial to.
Is there a good depth of soil on this lot? Because if you encourage a big tree to grow and it doesn't have enough soil to be properly rooted, it's just going to fall over one day.
May I jump in for a second? Are you copying me, Liz?
I am.
Okay. I would completely blank here for a couple of minutes. I had to reboot, so I missed some of the conversation, but just go ahead and I'll try to pick up the thread of it.
We were just talking about whether or not they could put in a couple of, you know, larger trees in addition to the ones that they're proposing.
Well, we can certainly add some, you know, maple or some pin oaks or something. I don't see a problem with putting some street trees in along Rocking Stone to offset these. Now, there is some mention from the planning board for us to go to the town board about taking over the space between the street right-of-way wall and the wall at the property line. And certainly we can add some trees that are closer to the existing property line that may get shifted towards the street if you want to add some additional oaks or maples.
So there's room for some street trees along some of the roads?
Yeah.
So-
Well, certainly on this area, Rockingstone, the northerly corner of Rockingstone, I wouldn't put any more on Mountain Road because we're leaving a lot of those and it is up above a wall and I don't want to put too much weight on the wall.
Right.
But certainly the area, I think, on the corner of Rockingstone where the wall is not as high and we don't have to worry about it affecting you see this area in here where that's one of the oak trees that are coming down, and we can certainly plant something new that would not be damaged at this time from the foundation excavation. Actually, I think it's the tree there that's coming out, that this one's staying. It's this one back here that is coming out.
Right.
And we can certainly plant some more down in closer to the road.
What do you think about that, Tara?
Yeah. I mean, I noticed the old plant list and the new plant list, and it just seemed like, the old plant list has some pretty significant trees, and the new plant list had some trees, definitely, some maple and a dogwood, but they just don't reach the same stature as some of those original oaks that are there, and so it really impacts the neighborhood in terms of shading and aesthetics. So
Yes, so adding trees like that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't really have any frontage on Wildwood to add any street trees there. And certainly on Mountain Road, we have that high retaining wall and I wouldn't want to add there. But I think we could add something more in on the Rockingstone, the northerly side of Rockingstone. As you go toward the south, toward Mountain, the walls start getting high. But certainly in the area of this oak, 30-inch oak that we're taking down, although we do have these two trees, these ARs, what is that? Is that those are the...
Those are the red maples.
Red maples, yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, red maples are great. It's just, rhododendron, spirea, it's not really comparable to, if you go down to the trees you're removing.
Yeah, I think that the trees that we're planting are more for screening between neighbors and foundation plantings than than street trees.
So the reason that the town wants to have them take over some of the right of way is so that they'll be responsible for maintaining the retaining walls and the steps that are in the right of way right now. So to make it clear that it's part of that property and not the town's.
Right.
Oh, I see. So that retaining wall is currently owned by the town?
No, it's on town property, but it's built by them.
I see.
By the original homeowner,
Yeah.
Original developer, it's hard to say who built these things, way back when the neighborhood was built.
But that's what we did with the house next door on Mountain. They had a gigantic retaining wall that they had to build to save their house from basically.
Right. That's this. Then you see that's that retaining wall that was built, and of course, there's in order to build that retaining wall or rebuild it, they had to take down all of the trees that were up against it because those trees add weight, and that's so. Again, I don't think we can really do much on the Mountain Road side.
You're just saying that there's not much room for street trees
Right.
there?
This is the view of our property from Mountain Road, and all of these trees essentially are staying. I think there's some recommendation that a couple of them come out. Certainly on the corner in here, there was a cherry that is in bad shape, that's dangerous. But Most of these other trees on this side are staying. So this is the plan. These three trees here are staying. And then certainly these 3 trees here, 4 trees, there's 3 coming out on that side. Let's see what they have to say about its condition. 9, 4, and 13, or is it these 5, 8, and 6? 5, it's extremely hazard. It's a 40-inch oak in poor health. 5, 8 is removed due to location, and 6 is poor habit due to hazardous and poor condition. So 2 of the trees there are in hazardous or poor condition. The last one is location to the foundation. So that's these 3 trees here. 9, 4, and 13. 4 is a broken crown and poor health. So most of these big trees are also seem to be in poor health, and they do have a life expectancy and a maturity, and replacing them with, new trees that are able to grow, I think personally is better. But like I said, I'm not the expert.
I think a lot of these 70, 80, 100-year-old trees around here would all fit that bill. We got a lot of trees that are pretty tired and have come to the end of their cycle.
I would agree with that. Although, we're all getting old, right?
Stop bragging.
Much better than the alternative.
Absolutely.
I should look at Rocking Stone and see if I can recommend to you a couple of trees to put there.
Sure. I think we're agreeable to that, yes.
Okay.
Well, I guess we probably have exhausted the topic, and I think we've exhausted the evening. So does anyone have anything in the way of old business or new business?
Did we talk about Manor Park? Do you want to?
All right. So I can, I'm finished. I can leave.
Yeah, you can go. All
right.
Thank you for your
time.
Thank you
Have a
for
good
your
evening.
presentation.
All right.
Sorry what happened there. We had just a little failure of the system for a few minutes, I think. But, anyway.
The same thing happened to me. It totally went blank and kicked me off.
Yeah, that's what happened here.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah. Bob's still down for the count.
I'm still here.
That's weird. I think the system must have overloaded somewhere. It happened to us just about 9 o'clock the last time too. It's as if something happens at 9 o'clock there.
It's a sign.
The gremlins get loose. That's what happens.
It's a reminder to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an email
We
last
are home.
Yeah. Well, the guys who run the system want to go home.
Go ahead, Liz.
I got an email last month from the Manor Park Society saying that they were doing a project to restore the pathway system and native plants in Manor Park. Says that there were no permits needed and they wanted to make sure the CZMC was aware of the work ahead of time as a courtesy. They plan to begin the work in the spring as the weather permits. They say that the project will take 2 to 3 weeks. It's not that long. And that they'll be closing sections of the park, and I guess we'll be working with the village on that.
I think we should just applaud them and let it go at that.
So just a quick
They
update
do-
on that. So I had met with Russ, my neighbor, who's the president of the society. They've built a 60 by 60 staging area right here in the park, and they're going to begin construction relatively soon. I'm being told it's going to run through May.
When are they starting?
Well, they put in the bullpen today, the fenced-in area. I would think they're going to start relatively soon. I mean, it's supposed to snow tomorrow,
Okay.
But I guess the builders finished early, so they're now available. So they're coming early. They're going to begin on the paths, and then once spring hits, they're going to do the plantings.
Yeah, I saw there was a fenced-in area right on the Grove side, you know, or beach, and then there was one across from your house.
Right.
And there was a big sign about what they intend to do.
Yes.
Was it one of the official town signs or was it just their own sign?
It looked like their own sign, right,
It is.
Bubba?
It's all their own sign. It's all Mamaroneck Society.
Okay, so they're not pulling a permit or anything like that, as you said. Okay.
I think the conversation was just to make sure that, you know, you showed respect.
Yeah, and you know, their track record's pretty good.
Absolutely.
So there's no, you know, it doesn't raise our hackles or anything like that. We know what they're going to do and they're going to do it right. So
yes,
but that's important. Okay, it's been a pleasure meeting with you all again. Someday we'll all sit down at the same table again, I hope. And
That would be nice.
Break some bread.
yeah, well, at least see each other in person.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody want to make a motion to adjourn for the evening and let it go?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Got a second on that somewhere?
I'll
second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 9:23, I guess it is.
Under 2 hours.
Yep.